Some would argue that this planet's rich cultures and languages give each of us our own unique identity. But looking around, from cities to nations to continents, our world is shaping up to be one big neighborhood. For one group of people, there is but only one identity and one trait, one voice and one truth, one heartbeat and one God. And uniting this ever-flourishing family is one gardener, one keeper, spreading the seeds of spirituality and watering all with God's grace. One man who walks day and night to every corner of the world to embrace every beloved soul and gather all of God's seeds. Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih V, the successor to the promised Messiah ﷺ, and source of the same light as the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, now visiting the far east of our small world once again. Join us in this special series for the incredible journey of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih to the nations of Singapore and Australia, and let us bring you closer to the far side of the world. After his first blessed visit in 2006, this was the second time Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V was to tour the Far East. His first stop, Singapore, a wealthy, prosperous nation packed into a city. Combining the skyscrapers and subways of a modern, affluent city with a medley of Chinese, Malay and Indian influences and a tropical climate, this garden city is a microcosm of Asia. Hiding behind the mega financial structures is a humble world that still has its roots in a time bygone. It is in this world, in the Changi district, that the Ahmadiyya community has a small mosque which was to host thousands of Ahmadi Muslims for the arrival of their spiritual leader, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Khalifatul Masih V. Huzoor was received by the Singapore National Ahmadiyya Muslim Executive Council, as well as Umara and presidents of neighbouring countries at Changi Airport on the 22nd of September 2013. In the evening, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih made his way to Masjid Taha, and he was received by the local Jamaat. The next day and the days onwards, Huzoor spent most of his time having personal meetings with the thousands of Ahmadi Muslims who had arrived from all countries in the region, including Thailand, Cambodia, Malaysia, Burma, India, Vietnam and Indonesia. This visit is a testament to the truth of Islam, that even tens of thousands of miles away, people who have completely different cultures and languages flock to their Khalifa and are united in one prayer and thought, just like every other Ahmadi Muslim around the world.
It is like a dream come true. You know, in Indonesia, when we get teaching from our Mubali, our Murabi, that this is true of faith, this is a real Islam, and this is the representative of Hazrat Rasulullah SAW. And then I also read the Man of God, etc. That I really, really want to meet this kind of Man of God. Yeah, I want to touch him, to express how that what was Hazrat Masih Maud tell to us, it is true about the sacrifice, about that. Hey, if you become an Ahmadi, you will face this and that and hardship and etc. and blah 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 something. And then, fortunately, I met the situation, and I felt that what Hazrat Masih Maud taught us, it is true.
The most lucky in my life because I met the most beautiful man in the world, and I think also what is the righteous man, the most righteous man in the world. So at the time I meet him, I only want to cry.
How we see from their face, how they are happy. They're very, just like, their faith, their iman are fully charged. When we talk to them after meeting, they couldn't express with the word how they feel, how they really very, very happy.
This is actually beyond our expectation because we are planning for maybe around 1,500 now, or probably for the maximum 2,000. But I heard it's around 3,000 over that will be arriving for this Huzoor visit this year.
अभी हम सब हुजूर अल्लाह ताला बिन अजीज़ से मुलाकात के लिए हम तकरीबन 40 अहबाब यहाँ तशरीफ़ लाए हैं। यहाँ हुजूर से कल मुलाकात भी हुई थी, तो अल्लाह ताला के फजल से बहुत खुश हुए कि हम लोग का जो ईमान भी ताज़ा हो गए। हुजूर के बहुत अरसा से हम लोगों को बेताब थे कि हुजूर से किसी तरह भी मुलाकात हो जाए।
The largest number of Ahmadi guests arrived from Indonesia, where Ahmadi Muslims have faced intense persecution for their faith. Ahmadi Muslims in Indonesia have been driven out of their homes, their mosques have been set on fire, many have been beaten, and some have even been martyred. Some of those who visited came from villages, with a few who had to sell their livestock and possessions just so they could pay for the journey to meet their Khalifa.
Generally, our activities are normal. Those who by law or those, the decree or whatever, they couldn't stop our activities. We still hold our jalsa. There is some restriction, especially in West Java. If it's not all West Java, but only certain regency. Alhamdulillah, our Jamaat is still progress.
Now, even though when we come, the situation not so good, but now because of the opposition from the Muslim in Cambodia, so our member they want to know why we are pray before. We are not pray 5 times, now we pray 5 times. Why they against us? Now before, this is the culture of Cambodia, they always begging, and now Jamaat come teach us to sacrifice. So we now doing according the Holy Quran say, like we have to spend our money in the cause of God.
I felt many blessings from God, many blessings that I cannot tell in words. But maybe this is also what the other Ahmadi who felt persecution, etc. Maybe some other people, non-Ahmadi, said, "Oh, poor Ahmadi, you got hardship." But for us, it is like an evidence of the truth, what Hazrat Masih Maud said to us. So of course, it is improve our faith to him also, and strengthen our belief, yeah, to him. And inshallah, yeah, I will not let this faith go. Even the mullah or the friend, yeah, even they took our life, they took our children, they took our home, our school. Yeah, we will not let this faith go. Since that, I really feel that this is the real Islam. This is the real faith.
On the 26th of September, a special reception was held in honor of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, where he gave a historic keynote address on the true message of Islam to the people of Singapore. Before the address, Huzoor held meetings with leading influential and political dignitaries, including Mr. Lee Koon Choi, a founding member of the ruling People's Action Party, who during a distinguished career also served as ambassador for Singapore in various countries. Huzoor was also interviewed by representatives of Indonesia's national media. The main event was attended by over 100 influential political and non-government leaders, including foreign consul generals, faith leaders, press and members of the National Parliament of Singapore and neighbouring countries. During his keynote address, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad explained the basis for a just economy, the need for equity between nations, the misrepresentation of Islam, and his concerns at the increasing risk of a Third World War.
In the world, the people say what Islam is connected with violence. I think that's very wrong. So I'm very glad that a movement like yours will do something to correct this image that Islam means peace and harmony with other religions.
Islam teaches that all of these resources are the combined property and wealth of all mankind. Thus, all of these blessings are for all people, and so they should all derive benefit from them. The wealth of a nation should be used to ensure that every member of society has access to certain essential facilities. For example, Islam teaches that each and every child, no matter his or her background, should be provided a proper education so that they can develop into skilled and truly beneficial members of society. The world has come to resemble a global village. And so, if we fail to discharge each other's rights, then the unrest that has already taken root would ultimately lead to extremely dangerous and devastating consequences.
Tonight, I began to listen to the real words of Islam, that is tolerance. At the present moment, we can have to see like too many hatred, too many things that are going on in this world, people killing each other. But if you understand the real teaching of Islam or any other religion for that matter, the fundamental is it is all about peace and harmony.
From what I'm hearing from this great man, is talking world peace, promoting peace, and this is what we all should be doing. And I really admire him for standing up and talking openly about it, and quoting from the great book of Quran. It really makes sense. As a non-Muslim, I am a Christian myself. Coming from Papua New Guinea, it is predominantly Christian. This is really in line with what we also preaching in the Holy Bible there. So it's really they all make sense, and it's really very encouraging for world peace.
I really thank God for this wonderful man of God, that he had the vision to really speak about peace for the world, and that is really the message that really touched my heart, as that is the message really that the people want to hear. And I believe that he's a person who had been called by God to preach this message of peace and to all mankind. So I believe that through this ministry, through this speech, many people will be able to embrace this unity even among other religions, that I believe religion doesn't talk about hatred, but peace. And I believe this movement, this religion, Ahmadiyya, is really talking about peace. And I'm so glad to hear that tonight.
The next day, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih delivered his Friday sermon from Masjid Taha in Singapore to the whole world. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih elegantly displayed true divine leadership, urging Muslims of Malaysia and Indonesia to self-reflect and ensure that they were living examples of true Islam, such that even their opponents cannot deny their commitment to true faith, rather than urging his community to rise up against their enemies or governments who have intensely persecuted them. Huzoor urged members to place their faith in prayers and supplicate to their Lord, reminding Ahmadi Muslims that the community in Pakistan was at the receiving end of even harsher hostilities at the hands of mullahs.
हमारे मुखालफिन नहीं जानते कि अहमदियत वो हकीकी इस्लाम है जिसने अपनी जड़ें हमारे दिलों में लगाई हुई हैं, और कोई मुखालफत और कोई तेज़ आंधी हमारे ईमान की मजबूत जड़ों को हमसे जुदा नहीं कर सकती। अहमदी खुदा ताला के फजलों के नज़ारों को देख कर किस तरह अपने खुदा से किए हुए अहद से मुंह मोड़ सकता है, हज़रत सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के आशिक़ सादिक़ से जुड़कर फिर किस तरह अपने बंधन को तोड़ सकता है। वो बंधन जिसने अल्लाह ताला और उसके रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के साथ बंधन को मज़ीद मजबूत कर दिया है, जिसने ईमान में तरक्की के वो रास्ते दिखाए हैं जिनसे गैर अहमदी मुसलमान ना आशना हैं। किसी शख्स की, किसी फ़िरके की, किसी मज़हब की, किसी हुकूमत की, किसी अदालत की अल्लाह ताला के लफ्ज़ पर उजारादारी नहीं है। बस हिकमत के साथ अपनी तबलीग के मैदान को वसी तर करते चले जाएं, हर तबके में अहमदियत यानी हकीकी इस्लाम का पैगाम पहुँचाएँ। यहाँ मेरे सामने जो अहमदी बैठे हुए हैं, चाहे सिंगापुर के हों या किसी दूसरे मुल्क के, हमें याद रखना चाहिए कि चाहे हालात अच्छे हों या ख़राब, हम अहमदी मुसलमानों ने इस्लाम का असल चेहरा दुनिया को दिखाना है।
Immediately after the sermon, Huzoor took bath, or initiation, into Ahmadiyyat, from a few new converts to Islam Ahmadiyyat. The bath is a tradition dating from the time of the Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is a pledge and affirmation of your faith, commitment and service to Islam and Khilafat under the 10 conditions of initiation set out by the promised Messiah alayhi salam. This was also an opportunity for all the members of the community to renew their pledge to Islam Ahmadiyyat through the leadership of Khilafat, a process which is incredibly spiritual and life-changing for many.
I entered this day the Ahmadiyya Jamaat in Islam at the hand of Masroor. O my Lord, my Allah, I wronged my soul and confess all my sins. Ameen.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim community spans the entire world through the blessings of Allah, and it has been through lifetime devotees called Waqfeen that people are guided and the community infrastructure remains strong and connected. These Waqfeen are from all walks of life. Some are missionaries spreading the message of Islam, others serve as imams and community leaders, and there are many more who serve their faith and the larger community in all fields. The fourth successor to the promised Messiah, ﷺ, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad Khalifatul Masih IV, rahmahullah, launched the Waqf scheme, where children are dedicated for Islam by their parents before birth. These children are then guided and nurtured to be servants of Islam, and it is then only through their own choice that they finally become Waqfeen. Hazrat Khalifatul Masih continuously oversees and assesses many of the Waqfeen in our children personally, and guides them towards positive goals for their future. For this purpose, he holds classes on his tours with Waqf of the region and guides them on all matters. Similarly, in Singapore also, many Waqf from Malaysia, Singapore and Indonesia attended the Waqf class with Hazrat Khalifatul Masih and received guidance from him. classes were held for both boys and girls separately.
He has completed his medicine. I asked them to make a clinic or hospital in Indonesia, so he will serve there for the Jamaat. Jamaat will open a clinic, so he will serve there. Or I will send him to Africa, but where can I send you? The thing is that those who have attained the age of 15 should feel the bond that they want to continue their work. All right? And then continue with your, and let the center know that what type of education you are getting, right? So that we are well aware of your your record, that how your progress is, right?
Huzoor's trip to Singapore and the arrival of thousands of Indonesian Ahmadi Muslims to meet Hazrat Khalifatul Masih brought considerable attention of the Indonesian press, many of whom who had not been properly informed on the beliefs and practices of Islam Ahmadiyyat. The reception held earlier in Singapore had caused a lot of interest in the Indonesian press, and thus on the 28th of September, Huzoor had a special audience with more than 20 non-Ahmadi Indonesian guests representing various media, educational institutions and think tanks at the Taha Mosque in Singapore. During the 70-minute question and answer session, Huzoor explained the true teachings of Islam and clarified various misconceptions concerning the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat.
What do you think about the Khalifat system, that it's supposed to be like this for the whole Muslim, or actually you agree that there are many kind of Islamic rule or Islamic
You see,
that you have to
this was the prophecy of the Holy Prophet of Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the time would come when Islam will split, or Ummah of Muslim Ummah will split into 72 sects, or rather 73 sects. So now that the prophecy of the Holy Prophet ﷺ has been fulfilled, and the 73rd sect will be of the Prophet Messiah ﷺ, right? Then he will bring all the Muslims to one hand. So this is why we, Ahmadiyya Jamaat, is now spread almost in 204 countries of the world. We are in the Middle East, in the Muslim world, as in Indonesia, in Pakistan, in India, Africa, Europe, and the people are coming gradually towards Ahmadiyya. And quite a good number of Muslims are joining Ahmadiyya, from among Shiites, from Sunnis, from Wahhabis, from Brahmins, and so other sects. So this will now make one sect. Not that every sect will have their own Khalifa. Khalifa will be only one. You see, these Indonesians, they joined Ahmadiyya. They were Sunnis before, or they were following those traditions or that ideology which was taught to them by their clerics and mullahs. Right? But now they are Ahmadis. So we don't say any of them is wrong. But we say, if you want to progress, you have to come to one hand and follow one leadership. And that was prophesied by the Holy Prophet ﷺ.
Ahmadi need new vision, interpretation about revelation, about prophet.
This question was also asked to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, and it is mentioned in the Quran. And Kuffar says, you just your vision, and then we shall accept some of your views. Why should, if we believe that it is from Allah, then why should we change? For last 25 years, we are sacrificing. We have lost number of lives, and we are stick to it because the belief we hold is from Allah. So if we do it, it means we have more fear of people than Allah. We fear Allah more than people. This is why we cannot change. We have to spread our message. You see? And you see, and 125 years ago, it was only one man. And now when he died, he was almost 500,000. And now every year we are getting more than 500,000 people joining Ahmadiyyat. And now we are more than 100 million or 150 million. So why should we fear?
Huzoor's blessed visit to Singapore was at its end. On the 30th of September, Huzoor departed from Singapore. Before his departure, Huzoor bade farewell to the hundreds of Ahmadis who had gathered at Taha Mosque. On the far corner of the world lies a large piece of land that had been cut off from the rest of the land masses thousands of years ago. Today it has been transformed into an oasis of concrete. 5,000 miles away from the birth of Ahmadiyyat, even this country received the blessings of Ahmadiyyat as early as 1903 through the acceptance of Ahmadiyyat by Hazrat Sufi Musa Hassan Khan Sahib. Since then, the community has grown and centres have been established all over Australia, with the headquarters being in Sydney at Masjid Huda. Huzoor arrived at Sydney Airport on the 1st of October and was welcomed by the National President of the community and Member of Parliament, the Honourable Kevin Connolly. This was the fourth visit of a Khalifatul Masih to Australia. Huzoor was welcomed to Masjid Huda by over 600 Ahmadi men, women and children who had been waiting patiently since sunrise for Huzoor's arrival. Join us next week for the next episode, where we'll bring you highlights of the Jalsa Salana Australia, interviews of Huzoor with ABC Network, and the historic reception address in Melbourne, as well as highlights of Eid and the foundation stone ceremony for a new guest house in Sydney at Masjid Huda.